Welcome. This is my presentation of Enhancing Engagement, Understanding, and Autonomy through Inquiry-Based Learning and Action Research Study in EFL Composition from our Maestría de Enseñanza Inglés como Lengua Extranjera del módulo 14, Investigación-Acción en el Aula de Lengua Inglesa de la profesora Gabriela Dolza. Mi nombre es Fernando Esquivel. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Introduction. So our goal was to enhance writing skills, essay writing skills in our composition class, and our system was inquiry-based learning, which is an educational approach that fosters critical thinking, where students follow methods and practices similar to those of professional scientists in order to construct knowledge. This is from Pedeste et al. 2015. The literature review, we're going to start with the 5 phases of inquiry, which is from Pedeste and al. As well. Phase 1 is orientation, where the teacher poses questions to introduce the topic and discussions happen. Phase 2 is conceptualization, where questions are made about the topic and tentative answers to the topic in hand. In this case, essay patterns. The third phase is investigation, where students explore, experiment, and interpret data. As you can see, all of these run in a loop, where each part fits the other to optimize each step, where you can go back and forward. Phase 4 is conclusion, where you draw your conclusions, answer your questions, and check your hypotheses. And phase 5 is discussions, the discussion phase. As you can see in all of these steps, discussions, questions, and communication happens. Literature review, the 4 levels of inquiry, according to Banchi and Bell. IBL can be delivered in a continuum ranging from teacher-centered structured approaches to learner-centered open approaches. And the first level is confirmation inquiry, where the teacher posits the questions and guides the students through all these phases. This is very teacher-centered. The second one is structure inquiry, where the teacher does the first 2 phases and then helps the students with the remaining of the phases, where they take charge of the investigation and conclusions and present discussion questions. Level 3 is guided inquiry, where the teacher proposes the topic and students are in charge of all the phases of inquiry. And level 4 is open or true inquiry, where students choose their own topic and go through the phases by themselves. In this study, level 1 and level 3 were introduced and used. The methodology was an action research, where mixed methods approach were used. Participants were 13 university students in an EFL composition class in Asunción, Paraguay. Instructional approach were level 1 inquiry, confirmation inquiry, where the teacher presented the argumentative essay pattern, following all the phases, modeling each of the phases. In each phases, discussions, questions, communication happen, examples, exercises, and important concepts like thesis statement, topic sentences, topics suited for this type of essay pattern. And the teacher presented the conclusions and posted discussion questions, where students engage actively in the discussions and share their insights. And then they took home an assignment, where they had to follow all the steps models. For this, the teacher provided templates for each of the phases and also a template for the presentation. Students were to choose a different essay pattern than argumentative essay. In the options were, among the options were cause and effect essays, comparison and contrast, description essays, process essays, narrative essays. Data collection happened in two ways. One, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative were Lickert-scale questions to assess attitudes on specific aspects of learning, including understanding, retention, confidence, autonomy, engagement, and motivation. Responses were analyzed through descriptive statistics to quantify trends. Then qualitative data was collected through open-ended questions to explore students' perceptions of the approach, just benefits and suggestions for improvement. These responses underwent thematic analysis to identify recurring themes and insights into students' experiences. So the first part, the quantitative descriptive statistics, responses were compiled to provide an overview of students' levels of agreement with statements regarding effectiveness and perceived value of IBL in enhancing essay writing skills. Section 1 was understanding and retention. The question was, how well did guided inquiry, level 3, approach help you understand the new essay pattern? Most responses were 5 and 4, 1, 3. This high average indicates that students, the average is 4.6, felt that guided inquiry approach was effective in helping them understand the essay pattern, right? The majority rating 4 or 5 suggests that the hands-on and research-based approach was beneficial for comprehension. Only one student rated their comprehension slightly lower, a 3, which may indicate a minor need for more support for some students during the learning process. The second question was, how confident are you that you can identify and apply this essay pattern in future assignments? Most students rated 4 and 5 with an average of 4.5. So students generally reported a high level of confidence in identifying and applying the essay pattern independently, suggesting that they felt adequately prepared to use this knowledge in future work. So this consistency supports the effectiveness of guided inquiry approach for practical applications. The second section is engagement and motivation, and the first question was, to what extent did the inquiry-based task motivate you to explore essay writing more deeply? Majority of 4s and 5s with 1, 3, and 1, 2. The average is 4.2. The majority of students felt motivated to explore essay writing more deeply through the IBL approach, with most responses at the high end. However, some at the low end suggest that motivation may have varied based on individual preferences or engagement levels with specific tasks. Sections 2.2 and 2.3 was a yes, no, somewhat question with an option to provide additional comments. And the question was, did the opportunity to present and explain your chosen essay pattern increase your interest in mastering? Mostly yes or somewhat, 9 yes, 4 somewhat. The presentation aspect seems to have positively impacted students' interest in mastering their essay pattern, with the majority responding affirmatively. Those who responded somewhat may indicate that while the presentation increased interest it could benefit from further engaging elements such as increased interactivity or feedback. Section 3 was confidence and autonomy. The first question is, how confident did you feel researching the essay pattern with your group, with most answers being 5 and 4, with 1, 3. So most students felt confident in their group research, suggesting that the collaborative component was supportive and encouraged self-assurance. This aligns with the ABL goals to foster teamwork and peer-supported learning, which seems to have been well received. The second question of this section is, did the task structure make you feel more autonomous in your learning? Most students answer 4 and 5 with 2, 3, so students generally felt that the task structure promoted autonomy. So most responses at 4 and 5, a couple of 3s, may indicate that some students may have found the level of autonomy challenging or felt the need for additional support, suggesting that a slight adjustment could be made for those who might benefit from more guidance. Section 4, effectiveness and value of the approach. Most responses 4 and 5 with 3. The average score is 4.2, and the question was, how effective do you feel this inquiry-based approach was compared to traditional methods you've experienced? Most students rated the effectiveness of IBL favorably compared to traditional methods, though a few 3s felt it was less effective, possibly due to the adjustment needed to adapt to a new learning method. These responses suggest that while the approach was generally well received, may benefit from an incremental introduction to ease adaptation. The second question of this section is, how effective do you feel the initial teacher-centered confirmation inquiry approach, so level 1, was in helping you understand the foundational principles of argument essay composition? Most students rated these 4 and 5 with 1, 3, and 1, 2. So the average score was of 4.2. The majority of students found the initial teacher-centered approach effective, with responses suggesting it provided a solid foundation. However, a few lower scores indicate that some students may have preferred a more interactive or varied introduction to foundational principles. The third and fourth parts of this section, the question is, do you believe that beginning with confirmation inquiry level 1 was a valuable way to introduce essay composition principles before progressing to guided inquiry? Level 3, this question also provided an optional comment, which nobody expanded further. So everybody responded yes. So universally positive responses indicate strong student support for starting with teacher-led confirmation approach before transitioning to more independent guided inquiry. This unanimous endorsement suggests that students felt well prepared by the initial instruction, which facilitated their transition to guided learning. Sections 4 and 4.5 and 4.6. Question 5. Do you feel that guided inquiry level 3 cooperative work and presentation is a valuable way to learn new writing patterns? This question also provided an optional comment section to expand further, which in this case no one did. All students responded yes. With all students responding affirmatively, the value of guided inquiry in learning new writing patterns is clearly recognized. This response supports the effectiveness of cooperative work and presentations as part of the IBL approach. This is the summary of findings. So high effectiveness in understanding and applying essay patterns, positive impact on engagement and motivation, promotion of confidence and autonomy, endorsement of IBL as a preferred learning method. Data analysis of the open-ended questions. For these, open-ended responses were analyzed through coding to identify key themes. Responses were categorized into themes such as teaching and explaining to others, clarity and instruction and structure, autonomy, collaborative learning, and the overall satisfaction with the method. These themes provided a qualitative insight into students' reflections on the benefits and limitations of the IBL approach. So the first question, the question was, what did you find most beneficial about this approach to learning essay patterns? So teaching this theme is teaching and explaining to others. Responses 1, 2, 6, and 7 endorse this theme. Several students value the opportunity to reinforce their understanding by teaching others. They found that preparing and presenting the material solidified their learning and deepened their understanding of the topic. For instance, we understand better a topic when we are the ones that have to explain it, and you can teach someone something you learned. Reflect this theme, suggesting that students see teaching as an effective method for mastering essay patterns. The second theme for this question is clarity and structure in learning. The theme summary is that some students highlighted the clarity and structure that this approach provides, which aids in organizing and focusing on key points. Responses like it gives a clear structure to follow, and the clarity that brings to both writing and understanding demonstrates how students felt that having a structured approach helped them navigate and retain essay patterns more easily. The second theme for this question is gradual and incremental learning. In summary, a few responses emphasize that the approach allows students to learn gradually, which led to more insightful understanding. Statements like you learn gradually and have better insights suggest that the method space aligns well with how students absorb and reflect on complex topics. The fourth theme is development of autonomy and self-learning skills. 3 responses support this theme. Some students appreciated the autonomy they gained as this approach allowed them to learn independently and encourage self-guided discovery. Responses such as, I felt more autonomous, and I think that helps a lot in learning. Reflect on how students value the freedom to explore and internalize material on their own. The fifth theme for this question is collaborative learning and peer interaction. Responses 2 and 8. A few students found working with classmates and presenting collaborative beneficial as it made the learning process easier and more enjoyable. For example, I found it easier than traditional methods. Also, I got to work with my classmates, show the perceived benefit of collaboration, which contributed to their overall learning experience. And the sixth theme is enhanced vocabulary and idea structuring. Response 5, one student noted a specific benefit in vocabulary development and the ability to structure ideas. This reflects skills building aspect of the approach, which some students found essential for mastering essay writing patterns. Summary of findings: teaching and explaining to others, clarity of structure, gradual learning, autonomy and self-learning, collaboration and interaction, and skill building, all which is also supported by the quantitative analysis. And section 5.2, the question was, what would you suggest to improve this method for future lessons? And the first theme, overall satisfaction with the method. 5 responses endorse this theme. A significant portion of students, 5 out of 13, expressed general satisfaction with the current method, mentioning that they found it effective as it stands and did not see any need for improvement. For instance, responses like nothing, for me it's good, and I'm comfortable with it so far suggest that the method is meeting the needs of many students. And the second theme is suggestions for increased interactivity and engagement. 3 answers endorse this theme. Several students suggested incorporating more interactive elements to enhance engagement. This includes ideas like adding short exercises during lessons, creating a space for debate to foster discussion, and introducing peer evaluation for collaborative feedback. For example, incorporating more interactive elements could be very beneficial, adding short exercises, and to create a space for debate at the end, reflect a desire for more dynamic interactions. The third theme is suggestions for clarity and review process. 3 responses endorse this theme. Students indicated that more clarity and structure in presentations, as well as a follow-up review session after presentation, could enhance understanding for everyone. For example, a follow-up to the presentations that is focused on giving an overall review suggests a desire for a summary of reinforcement of concepts to ensure comprehension. Another student suggested that instructions be written clearly before new assignments are loaded on the learning management system or online platform, as seen in to write what we have to do before uploading a new assignment on the platform. And the fourth theme is need for additional resources and practice. 2 responses endorse this theme. Some students recommended increasing the variety of materials used and adding more examples and practice exercises to reinforce learning. These suggestions indicate that additional resources may help to cater to different learning styles and provide further practice opportunities. For instance, adding more examples and practice exercises reflect this theme. Summary of findings: overall satisfaction, desire for interactivity, clarity and structure, additional practice and materials. Conclusion of this action research on inquiry-based learning. In summary, this action research supports the effectiveness of IBL in fostering critical thinking, autonomy, and engagement in an EFL writing classroom. The findings suggest that IBL, particularly when progressively structured from teacher-led to guided inquiry, is a valuable approach for developing complex skills like essay composition. The results contribute to a growing body of evidence that IBL can enhance not only language skills, but also learners' confidence and motivation, making it a promising methodology for EFL composition instruction. For future studies, I'm planning to blend IBL with gamification to track students' progress and engagement with an writing progress gamified web page, and also conducting a inferential statistic analysis to evaluate their progress in writing, where students will get a test and writing essay test at the beginning of the class, in the first class, and in the midterm, and at the end to track their progress. All of this will be gamified, and I will, for that, I already have a rubric that will measure organization and pattern elements, content and development, critical thinking, and language use. All of this is actually part of my trial for my final thesis of my master's degree. And this is the web page, the gamified writer's journey tracker. This is a fully functioning web page already, where you can add students, choose students, and work achievements like pattern masters, thought leader, wordsmith, content king, most improved. And these are the writing skills that will be measured, and they will also get an assessment history from all three assessments. And this is the idea is to improve engagement, give students the opportunity to track their progress, and see if this motivates them more or less. But this has to be, gamified elements have to be introduced carefully, since they have to have good rationale behind them. And that's it. This was my presentation on enhancing engagement, understanding, and autonomy through inquiry-based learning, an action research study in EFL composition. My name again is Fernando Esquivel. This was Professor Gabriela Dolza's class. Thank you very much.